Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking a little bit of a look at the current market for building yourself a gaming PC, which has been largely very expensive over about the past year. So I wanted to sort of revisit this and see just where we stand. Is it still super expensive to build a gaming PC? Is it coming down? Is it reasonable? That sort of thing. So here's a quick parts list I threw together of what I would consider a very capable current mid-range gaming PC, and I'll do a quick rundown here. We have an Intel Core i5-8400. That's a 6-core processor. There is not hyper-threading on the i5 series, so we're working with just 6 physical cores here. One of the nice things in recent months has been that we have the cheaper Coffee Lake motherboards available. In this case, an MSI B360M motherboard. That's just $57 RAM there. Then we have a 1TB hard drive. That's sort of my standard go-to, especially if you're just trying to get a PC up and running. I a lot of times recommend starting with a 1TB hard drive, and then you can add faster solid state storage later on. Then we have a GTX 1060 rounded out by a very inexpensive micro ATX case, as well as a very solid yet inexpensive power supply. So let's start off with the processor front, and in this particular build I picked out a Core i5-8400 because typically speaking the Intel processors will run most games at higher frame rates than their AMD counterparts. Now there are of course some exceptions, especially when we start dealing with the newer Ryzen 2 chips versus the Intel Coffee Lake chips. Still, Intel has an IPC advantage, so these chips like this 8400 here tend to do a little bit better in gaming purposes than do AMD parts. However, if you do a lot of other things, maybe you're a streamer or you do other productivity-based tasks that do require a lot of cores and threads, then I'd recommend swapping the 8400 out for a comparably priced Ryzen chip, maybe something like the 2600. However, the point here is really that the CPU market remains one of the bright spots of the building a gaming PC in general because of the competition that was added last year by AMD with the first generation Ryzen chips. This little battle that Intel and AMD have going on right now is just benefiting consumers in a big way. Also, an advantage here on the Intel side of things is that we actually have cheap motherboards now available. Just a great example here is this MSI B360 board. Now, one of the drawbacks of this particular board is that there are only 2 RAM DIMM slots there. So if you're gonna go with 16 gigabytes of RAM down the road, you need to do it pretty much immediately here, or you can just get one 8 gigabyte stick and then leave that other DIMM slot empty. Obviously, then you lose your dual channel RAM capability. However, just the fact that we have these cheap motherboards again is a win for consumers, especially if you're looking for a Coffee Lake based system that is not using a K-SKU processor. So the arrival of these H310 and B360 motherboards are excellent, again adding to the price competition between AMD and Intel based systems. Now moving on from the bright spot to really the sore spot, or at least one of the sore spots of building a gaming PC in the past year, are these RAM prices. Now RAM prices have definitely come down. Now this particular kit of RAM does run at the 3000 megahertz, or at least it's rated at 3000 megahertz. With Intel processors, that typically is a little bit less important than it would be with a Ryzen based system. But it wasn't very long ago that a RAM kit like this, an 8 gigabyte RAM kit that was rated at 3000 megahertz speed, would be costing over $100. So the fact that we can pick up any kind of RAM kit regardless of brand, and yes, I know that Team Group tends to be a little bit more on the cheap side from a brand perspective, but the fact that we can get any DDR4 3000 RAM in an 8 gigabyte kit for under $100 right now is definitely an improvement. However, of course, it is far more expensive than we would like to see that, so this continues to be a sore spot for gamers trying to put together a gaming PC. Moving on to storage here, hard drives continue to be basically what they have been for a few years now, and that is very, very cheap in general. You can typically pick up a 1TB hard drive brand new for around $45, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more, but really hard drives have not changed a whole lot in pricing over the past couple of years, and hard drives remain one of the cheaper components, especially if you're getting these bulk hard drives such as this 1TB Western Digital Blue drive. Now solid state drives have taken a little bit different of a path to get to the point of being what I would consider very affordable right now. Looking just at Newegg really quick with a 480 gigabyte SSD search, we see that you can actually pick up some 480 gigabyte SSDs for less than $100. Now, about a year and a half ago, SSDs were actually quite cheap as well. They were about, on a deal, you could get about $100 for a 480 gigabyte hard drive, and then prices shot up, and it was very hard to find those same capacity drives for under about $120 or $130. Now, obviously, you can readily once again find these capacity hard drives at that 100-ish to $90-ish price point. So the SSD market, although it definitely did go up for a while, has come back to earth and is looking pretty good for most gamers at this point. Now, the last thorn in gamers' sides has definitely been graphics cards in general, and AMD and NVIDIA graphics cards do, unfortunately, still remain elevated in their cost. GTX 1050 Ti's, for example, still are about $200 typically, and you can find GTX 1060 6GB variants for about $300. Now, keep in mind, these cards are 2 full years old now, and they are still above MSRP, which is kind of crummy for gamers, but at the same time, you don't really have a whole lot of choice in the matter because AMD cards are just more expensive than the NVIDIA counterparts right now, and that really puts NVIDIA in a place of power because from NVIDIA's perspective, what's the point of rushing out a brand new series of cards when you can still sell these things at above their original MSRP anyways? That being said, graphics card prices have come back to earth a little bit in recent months, so even though you're still paying more than you should be for a GTX 1060, for example, look at this graph down here. This is a 3-month graph. Less than 3 months ago, this same card was $490 on Amazon. So at least cards are affordable adjacent. Now, paying more than you would like to, sure, but this card is only about $40 or $50 above the original MSRP anyways. So that should be to the point where most people are not going to be prohibited from putting together a gaming PC based solely on graphics card prices. Now, sure, the combination of GPU prices as well as RAM prices may definitely put off your ambitions to build a PC for a little while, but unlike a few months ago, you should be able to overcome these price hikes to the point where you can actually get a PC put together and start gaming and enjoying the benefits of being on the PC platform. And getting back to the total build here, and by the way, I'll put links to several of these components down below in case you want to check them out. But this mid-range gaming PC is, first of all, an extremely capable 1080p gaming PC. Really, you can game 1440p, and depending on the game here, you can also actually reach 4K settings with several sort of less demanding games. And it is definitely to the point now that gaming PCs are becoming more and more affordable as prices of RAM continue to slowly slide down, as well as the GPU prices. And then, of course, I mentioned that SSD costs have also come down, making the entire gaming PC platform get more back to where it was about a year and a half ago, where it was quite affordable to get onto this platform and enjoy several of the benefits that come with gaming on the PC, including things like free online play and much more in the way of steep sales, whether it be Steam, Origin, or other places. So this has been a look at the state of building a gaming PC from a price perspective. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about building a PC right now. Is it something that you would think about doing, or maybe you are thinking about doing? And if that is you, let us know what kind of components you're going to be putting in your PC. And as always, if you like this content, give it a like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Hoosier Hardware. And as always, I will let YouTube queue up a few more videos from my channel around the screen for you to watch. I'm Shane with Hoosier Hardware, and I'll see you guys in the next video.